Good morning, everybody. A little problem with the stream thing. All right. Second here. What? What are we at here? So, was this last night or jacked up this morning? There was some news on semiconductors. This news market is just ridiculous already. Anyway, so we had this little minor pullback and buy setup, right? Little bottoming tail bar on the Qs there after taking out the low. These are not ideal. This pullback was very shallow, which isn't bad. It's got pluses and minuses, which means okay, people are still bullish. It's so close to the high there, which is aligned with the other high and aligned with the 200 MA. But it's been chopping around for a bit. Maybe you can get through it. And so there was that move up at 4 o'clock. I'm okay, 4 o'clock. That must have been on the semiconductor news that gapped it up there into resistance. And now it's backing off. I didn't even look. I saw the jobs report thing. I think the number was a little bit more. It wasn't relative. I don't think it was a big deal, but I wasn't listening to the news. So that didn't sound like any kind of a big deal. So just looking at the charts here, I guess 835, that was on the news, right? Give or take, right? And basically things are going nowhere, but they're gapping up near that prior high. And you can see the cursor on the daily chart. So maybe chops around there a little bit and can go higher or not. And then it collapses back down again. I'm going to be another wait and see as far as the markets go. Are buyers confident enough after this minor correction to take it higher or not? The weekly, we still got today and tomorrow, but it's a consolidation week in an area of resistance. Makes sense. So nothing really unusual yet. So a little trading range, as you can see more clearly on the 65-minute. Pivot lows, pivot highs, top of the range. What do? We wait. Can it go sideways? Can it break out? Does it fail? Do trade something else, not this, until something develops. And so nothing to do there. I'll look at the futures in a second, so I'll go right to SPY. But one of the things, I'm not on SPX to comment on that, but anyway. So support, same bottoming tail, shallow pullback. There was the news, sideways, rolling over, and wait and see. Gapping up into resistance, same story, pivot highs, pivot lows, trading range, same weekly chart. Nothing to do. Wait and see what it could do there. SPX. So this 5-day average range is contracting. And that means an expansion in range is coming. Right? As you had this huge expansion, this erratic price action, things get a little tighter, correction bar, and everybody's waiting. Fed day's over, jobs report is over. In reality, everybody's waiting for the next whatever out of the president's mouth, right? You saw in the news yesterday, I think it was, it's going to be earth-shattering, right? Big announcement coming. So we'll have to wait and see for that cliffhanger. So gapping up into this area below 5,700, right? Downside strike, move those over there. This will stop eventually as prices begin to move one way or another away from all of this slop. But things are kind of tightening up there as well as they normally do. So let's see which way things go. I mean, I don't think there's a bond auction, I think, at 11:30 to keep aware of. Actually, 12 o'clock. Mortgage rates. There's an auction at 11:30, and then they're going to announce mortgage rates at 12 o'clock. Say, oh, there is a 30-year bond auction at 1 o'clock. So sometimes they move markets and sometimes they don't. What did Alex say? Trump posted on Truth Social, too late. Jerome Powell is a fool who doesn't have. Oh, man. You heard Powell's comments. They asked him yesterday if he asked for a sit down with the president. He goes, I don't ask for sit downs with presidents. They ask me. But you could hear by the tone of his voice, the tension. And he's never had manners, Dan. That's why one of the reasons he got elected, he wasn't your typical politically correct person. Right? He's fighting the time clock, so doing things quickly, but, trying to fix the total F up that was created between Obama and Biden. And so, anyway, hopefully everything will turn out okay. And, well, it'll turn out one way or another. I mean, the world's not going to end. So, anyway, let's look at, breath, really nothingness because nothing's happening. Uh, Relatively still low numbers for put call ratio, so still bullish. But the outside strikes, looked yesterday, mentioning yesterday, the outside strikes, they're not big bets up high. And so when markets are, you know, I'd say really bullish, you start getting large open interest in volume and strikes way up higher, and they're not there. So there's a very subdued kind of wait and see that's going on. We'll see how it unfolds. Interest rates, right? Forget all these numbers. I usually put them on the trend lines for measuring percentage moves up and down, so they're meaningless. I was just showing the contraction and ranges and volatility and interest rates. So, yeah, in another example, how um, the forces of supply and demand are contracting, and maybe I don't know the end of the week, maybe next week. Yeah, in next Tuesday we get inflation numbers, so and CPI. So, and then, later in the part of the week, PPI. And so maybe next week, you know, things start moving in a meaningful way. Until then, you just stay out of the chop. All right. Oh, let's take a peek at this. We haven't in a while. So we had this breakdown and then immediate recover in the 13 week, which communicates there was a belief the Fed would cut and then not. And then, oh yeah, yeah. I remember we've heard, oh, 4 cuts by the end of the year, then 3. And we hear Powell talking, and I suppose that's beginning to diminish a little because his tones were like he sees no reason to cut interest rates yet. Wait and see with the tariff thing. Transports, any clues there? None, other than things are contracting as they are in other places. So must be many sitting on the sidelines waiting for the next shoe to drop or tariff news or breakout, breakdown, move one way or another. Bitcoin breaking out. So what is coin doing? What is GMTC? I think I saw MSTR. Was that the one symbol went across? That was up quite a bit this morning. Whereas where it is in the range, really, right? Not a big deal. It's already been up a whole bunch near resistance. IWM running in place. Was higher there on the news after hours, and now it's rolling back over. Things are getting tighter, as you can see. Kind of boring, right? What are you going to do? We can't change anything. Just show up, do the factory work, and wait for things to change as they always do. Yeah, so just looking at the futures, we quick peek there, you know, turn. Yesterday we talked about coming back down to the bottom of the wide range bar. Not ideal, right? Ideal is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up. So running in place, weekly chart, kind of the same everywhere. Nothing new I'm going to be able to say about any of this. So I'll just take a peek at these as we always do. Same chart. Fuse up a little bit, top of the range. Same intraday pattern there. If something's going to move, this underperformer should be the one. Again, if it can stay near this resistance area, which means obviously this little sell off there earlier, it's got to recover or chop around, and then maybe this could play some catch up and it moves. Other than that, gold resting, whippy as hell. Silver doing nothing, and crude oil doing nothing. Boring. Even intraday, you better be nimble because the way things are whipping around. So it is what it is. Volatility is contracting, which means for whatever reason, maybe it's the earth-shattering news that is coming. This should be over relatively soon. All yours, Dan. The dollar? Who's interested in the dollar anymore? It's doing nothing. It's just chopping around down there after this big decline. You know, the euro is kind of drifting lower, after this big advance, and you can see it broke out. So things are just hanging here. Tariffs, interest rates, what's going on in Europe? I don't know. Anybody over there? What's going over there? Everything's about tariffs and negotiations. We're kind of held captive here until something happens. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. All right. Ton of earnings. I don't have any alarms. I posted a few things though last night and this morning. Uh, yeah, let me check. Greg, I thought it was my desktop icon, but I did save it as a favorite.
You
So,
must have that desktop icon connected to something else.
right. But I saved it as a what? Stop sharing. I didn't do anything. Oh, what just happened here? Oh, my friggin' trade station just shut down on its own.
Must be AI.
What the heck?
It's taking over. It's coming true. Started with TradeStation.
I wouldn't even touch the laptop. Yeah, they were saying that they asked Musk, what are the chances of AI destroying civilization? He said, oh, about 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Greg, I gotta get your link again. I saved it to
The
favorite.
chat. The chat. Just scroll back.
I know I gotta scroll back, but
It's not that far. I see it.
all right, hold on. My thing's booting up here anyway. All right, it's popping up here. All right, so I posted a few. Deer was one. Play was one from yesterday. Remember, I liked NVIDIA. My alarm went off into the close yesterday. And that's when the bunch of all the other fangs and Qs were ripping, and we found out the news of Trump was um, revoking one of the distribution things for semi restrictions. Wow, look at this thing! It's so blasting. So you see the pop in semis into the close there with NVIDIA. So I posted this as a put spread idea, the 210s for next week. Let's see what else I posted here. Oh, WRB alarm went off. I said sell half pre-market. Um, I saw a big print here. Play gapping over yesterday's entry, but that should be good to go. That looks great. Bottoming pattern. Navgo, yeah, has room. It's coming in here a little bit, so I'm not going to be rushing. STZ. So we got to do a new bottoming pattern MT live here. We haven't done one in a year because I've been talking a lot about quality bottoming patterns versus junky ones. So here's a big inverse head and shoulder bottoming pattern. Looks great. Play looks great. ION, that's not it. IOT, we're in. That's a sloppier one, but it's a bottoming pattern. And there's different tells going sideways. So that alarm went off. That looks good. Interactive broker alarm went off. It's also a bottoming pattern. It's an inverse head and shoulder also. We have a put spread, so I tighten the stop on that. APP, this was an earning stock though. This was one I said, I hope it opens flat-ish. And I said, first target 350. And look, so that's where it's gapping to. This was another bottoming pattern. That's a beautiful bottoming pattern. So these are all good. I'm going to grab these charts later for the preparation of the MT Live. FSM alarm just went off, but nah, we can find better. All right, NFG, we've been watching for a couple days. So 1, 2, 3, that looks good over the high. Deer, shocked I don't see any prints here, but that's a buy setup above the 50 after a breakout. That I like as a directional. The put spread is a little spready. Deer and cat are both spready. On the video, we had a put spread. I said posted yesterday. It triggered, and now we're not going to get filled, unfortunately. On deck, I posted put spread, but another bottoming pattern. Bottoming patterns everywhere. So see, bottoming patterns are, actually relative weakness to the spider's big move from here to here. I don't call this a bottoming pattern. This is just chaotic, crazy, deep retracements. That's not a bottoming pattern. I'm on KKR. I found this one just because the guy was talking on with Maria, and so I looked it up, and we can do a put spread to 110s. So I said 5 minute high. That's good to go. All right, those were the things I posted and alarms. Let me go to earnings now. There's a ton of them, and as always, I went through them and deleted a bunch. I just had ACVA alarm go off. Look at that, boom. Another potential bottoming pattern. Yesterday, MT Live, we talked about intelligent use of MAs. There's one right there. 20 MA flattened out, rising, converging 50, closing breakout, void. But the gap's too big. Oh, I had an alarm on bull go off. I've been watching this for a while. You know what would make this better is a bottoming tail or a gap reversal. So would this be a bottoming pattern? It's like maybe, but I don't have a potent turn yet. Low here. Another bottoming pattern. Look at all those MAs. This one has earnings though next week, but that's a bottoming pattern, and it was actually on our list. And then it had that deep retracement yesterday. All right, let me CTOS here. I posted as a put spread watch. Let's see what it does at the open. And for next week, all right, here are the earnings, 398. FSM. It's making the turn. It's a multi-week turn at the rising 50. It would be a marvelous put, naked put, but with the price of the stock, there's going to be nothing there. I got plenty to watch already. Run spot run 850. That's another bottoming pattern. So you see how this is weaker than the spiders and Qs that have had an amazing rally. And this thing is a dog. It's a bottoming pattern. But is there a trading opportunity for swing traders? I would say there would have been target 9, so the gap's messing it up. IONQ 3140, another bottoming pattern, but nothing to do. Golf Tango. It's actually, I set an alarm at 11:05 to see if it can, well, now the gap's bigger than it was, so never mind. Remember this chart reminds me of the MT Live we did on M top or consolidation in an uptrend. And with these bullish 4 bars, if it could have taken out yesterday's high, then that would have made this a bull rectangle with bullish weekly, monthly gaps messing it up. ARM bottoming pattern, but gap down. That's kind of a Wall Street loved one. It's had a nice bounce here, $6 bounce off the low. We'll come back to you at TNT, another big cyber stock, 98 bucks. Call spread or condor idea. Put that up. My other computer. F slide bottoming pattern, but it's gapping up 10%. I ain't chasing that. Carvana, I thought was down last night, 275. I would have loved for this to gap up to 290 to 300. Then I'd say call spread idea. Today's Thursday, so call spreads would be 1 DTE. Unst. That's my girlfriend's company. Jessica Alba. Well, I gotta go have lunch with her today. Coher bottoming pattern broke out, buy setup, gapping up 73. That's a watch on a pullback. Zulu, call spread idea and short idea, 30-minute low. Really, another bottoming pattern. I mean, do y'all hear how many times I'm saying bottoming pattern? I'm gapping up to 23 though, so no interest. Bumble, what's the word of the day? Bottoming pattern. Look at that, 30-minute high. Oh, Sam, we looked at your company yesterday, Grinder. Ever since you joined the board here, you have been doing a superb job. With all maybe all that creative AI stuff. This one's garbage. SanDisk, bottoming pattern, word of the day. Let's set an alarm. See, now it's back down to 34. Let's set an alarm at 35.50. And then that would be a put spread idea. You know, just like word of the day for Powell yesterday was uncertainty, remember? Their bottoming pattern, T-Tech, incredible. All right, Kilo Whiskey Alarm, another bottoming pattern, but nothing to do now. SanDisk already hit my alarm. So I wouldn't do anything for 5 minutes, but 5-minute high, if somebody wants to check a put spread. Deer, deer alarm, let's wait 5-minute high on deer. But that's a nice pattern. And I'll and then we can check put spreads also. All right, deer. All right, this play. Play is a go. That looks good. $21.17. So P alarm, remember that was a put of naked, either a spread or a naked, I forget. And I said if it triggered, it was good to go still. Let me see what my old alert was. Like, you know, the guaranteed there's no juice anymore because this was in the weekend letter and it's now 3 days later. But we might have to go up the next week. But I wouldn't do that until 30-minute high. And I canceled it anyway, so that's not official. I just want to see 109, 104. Yeah, 0 by 50. So forget about it. But let's come back to a 30-minute high. Well, let me look anyway. Now the 110s for next week. Spreads are nuts. 92 by 156. All right, market's coming in a little bit, which is good because it's a, you know, on the 15-minute chart, it's actually a big run from that afternoon little sprint. We have 3 open shorts, TFX. Looks like, did that gap over? TFX. Yeah, 122.92, but we still have an open profit. Let's move stop 5-minute high. And then get out and then get out on a pullback. TFX moves stop 5-minute high and cover. Exxon, yeah, not my wheelhouse. I don't do 5 minute gap and goes on a gap that big with a market gap and resistance. So even though it worked, ain't my wheelhouse. Now let's tighten fiber stuff here. 28.53. Yeah, my alarm went off on that, but I think earnings are today after the bell. But yeah, that's a bottom feeder trade. Alarm went off on the timer. Frank's asking about Intel. You need a pullback. That's a big gap. And look at the 15-minute chart. That's a big old run, and it's kind of an M top. Using the pre-market futures, you got to look at SMH is pulling in. So you just got to be patient on semi entries. TTD, another bottoming pattern. They're all over the place. Yeah, earnings after the bell.
And your 50 MA on that chart, according to TC 2000 anyway, does not look correct.
On which one?
Intel.
PayPal. I didn't look at
Intel.
that.
Yeah, the 50 MA is over the top of prices. Oh, no. Hey, now it looks right. Maybe you were switching from one thing to another.
Um, all right. Uh, TFX. All right, that's the one I adjusted 5 minute high. This thing's still weak to Mo. I think I moved it here already, but I'm 412.02 to Mo. Yeah, let me look. I stopped looking at Casey because of the topping tail yesterday. Um, Mo. Hmm, right here. Casey. I don't like yesterday's tail. Not me. I don't like the tail. And the market's still coming in. Tick gapped over 1200, and it's steadily selling off here all morning. All right, our third short is Builder, and then we already have our stop in, so that's fine. Let's say stop 108.52, I think. Builder. Yep, 108.52. So we're fine there. Just let it play out. All right, our WRB. I'm not sure if you got filled pre-market. I sent out an alert. 72.32. Golf Tango came back. Remember I said that's the one that could be a bull rectangle if it came back. Look at that bull rectangle with a bottoming tail now. It closes like, look at the daily, weekly are bullish too. I maybe even, well, I'd like it to close like this, but looks great now. Well, it's another bar confirming that bull rectangle. SanDisk alarm. See why I said do not touch this unless it took out a 5 minute high. And then even still, it was just going to be a put spread. Let's see. Here's another example of this is not a good bottoming pattern. And remember, I've been saying a lot lately when some of you has asked about bottoming patterns, and I've said I don't know how far it's going to go because I mean it's stabilized, yes, but that's not a good bottoming pattern. All right, look, this is weird. This is not showing my 50 MA. Is that because there's not 50 days of data? That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. But it's only showing it like an IPO. No, I'm not gonna worry about it for now. I got enough to do. All right. EMPH was another one. We're long puts, stop 46.12. Now let's tighten it to 45.52. Puts next week is looks like that had to have stopped out break even yesterday, actually. I unfortunately stopped that out yesterday. I tightened the stops on going into the Fed. Yeah, see that little tail right there? But yeah, still that's grinding higher. But I mean that's look at the bars. That's a grinder. All right, interactive broker. I tighten the stop. Looks great. IoT. I tighten the stop. We can tighten it again. 41, 48. Now Lulu looking a little better. LYB, all right. We got that pop that can help break even. LW, I thought that was a short watch. I have an alarm down there, but the actual would be yesterday's low. Our ARC-B had a nice gap up today. Greg, how do you want to manage this now? We have a half a lot.
Follow the rules.
Hmm?
Just follow the rules.
Okay, but it's not a black and white rule since it's far from the 20.
Manage it off a Bitcoin chart then. Doesn't matter if it's far from the 20. It's either going to retrace. It doesn't mean it's going to collapse.
All right, that's where it is now. Oh, ZG bear gap the bullies. I say this one doesn't have a void yet. Like, remember par yesterday? That one I liked because then it had this void. Man, that thing took off. Let's run. The gap's too big. DXC. Nice. Yeah, that was one of our next 1, 2, 3, 4s. Oh, what's the one that I posted today? NFG. Okay, so that looked like it. Hmm. Z hasn't triggered yet, but it's getting close. And then deer, I said 5-minute high. That looks like that did hit 478.53. Let's just do half a lot only. Yeah, play I gave long calls, not stuck. So let me check that out. STZ triggering. Okay, that triggered the 19 calls. 2.25. Yeah, that's the problem. I already talked about it. And I looked at next week's and they were 50% spread. Check OIH also.